What is up, YouTube? Fanta here, and last night Nintendo announced something huge. The Nintendo NX will be coming out in March 2017. Now, also, not only did they announce that, but on their official Twitter here, they announced that the Zelda the brand new Legend of Zelda for the Wii U and NX will be launching simultaneously in 2017 as well. So, it was kind of a mixture of good and bad news. Why good and bad? Now, I'm going to get to the good first. The good is that the console is not coming out until 2017. Why is this a good thing? Because a lot of Wii U owners feel like they've been cheated because they don't have the library that they were hoping to have by this time. Now, I think there's a lot of great games for the Wii U. I know a lot of people disagree, but Pikmin 3 is great. Donkey Kong Country, Tropical Freeze is awesome. And then there's Splatoon. The Mario games are great. Mario Kart. Super Smash Bros. Is pretty awesome, and that community is pretty big. But people still feel like they needed more launches for this console before the new system comes out, because they don't feel like they were justified in that early purchase, which is where we come to the bad, which is that they're not coming out with the new Zelda game till 2017, which means they're going to be launching this for the Wii U and NX. So the people that had the Wii U since launch, when they first saw that Zelda HD trailer, we all saw it. We were all so excited. We could not believe that Zelda was coming to us in these amazing graphics, and it looked so cool. That new Zelda game has been teased almost every year. We saw it last year's E3, and it's going to be the focus of this year's E3. We're still not going to be getting it this year, and that's a huge disappointment, because I know a lot of people that bought the Wii U specifically for that HD Zelda game. Nintendo with the NX is really going to have to buckle down and focus on third-party developers, because the Wii U did not have any third-party development at all. Like, there was like a couple Call of Duty games that were released on it, a Madden game, and there were some others, don't get me wrong. There were a couple. It's not like there were completely none, but from third-party stuff compared to, PS4 and Xbox One, it can't even compete. First-party stuff, on the other hand, blew all the other ones out of the water. I mean, for exclusives and stuff like that, the Wii U is kind of on top if you want to look at it that way. There are a lot more Wii U exclusives than Xbox One and PS4 exclusives. But there are a lot of games that are on the PS4 and Xbox One that aren't on the Wii U, which is a huge problem. And it's why the Wii U hasn't been able to compete with these other two consoles this generation. So in order for Nintendo to survive with the NX, because this is really, if they blow the NX, they're probably going to be stuck in the handheld market, which I really don't want to see happen, because I love their consoles, and I love seeing what games they put out for it, and you just can't do the same thing with the handheld. What they need to do, at least what they need to do, is make it more powerful than the PS4 and Xbox One, which is not a problem. The parts for those consoles right now, you could build a computer for less, I'm sure, and have a more powerful system than those two. And they also need to make it able to play Wii U games. That's going to be a little bit more difficult because it requires that gamepad, but it needs to happen. It just needs to. Also, what they need to do is come to this modern times. They need to realize people want to play online with their friends. Their friends aren't around the corner anymore. As people grow up, I know a lot of my friends have moved away, or they're constantly busy and they can't just come over, or they live pretty far. I mean, people's schedules keep getting tougher as they grow up, and they need to fine-tune this new console to not only be just for families and kids, but also for the people that are older and either in college or graduating college, or even older than that, or have a career already. So they need to not just focus on the casual audience and go towards the more hardcore market as well, which is the third-party developers and stuff like that. They also need a real friends list. They need chat. They need a bunch of new things that has been implemented in consoles since the 360 and PS3. and they're still lagging behind. I'm not sure why. And they need a cloud very badly. I never realized how important that was until my portable hard drive broke that for some reason had my save file for Splatoon on it, and that was not just my save file for my campaign, but also my multiplayer progress. So I went from a level 30 back down to a level 1. I spent so many hours in that game. It was so frustrating to lose all that. That would have never happened on a 360, PS3, Xbox One, or PS4 because they have the cloud. And it automatically saves your game files to that. So if anything did happen to your console, you have all that backed up, which is great. And Nintendo needs that. They also need to be able to move profiles easier. I know we're covering news right now, but I really just want, if Nintendo's watching this, to listen. Because we really need these things for the next console. Otherwise, I don't know what the future of Nintendo is going to be like. Like I said, they're probably going to have to just stick with handhelds. Because they're doing just fine with the 3DS. They're making a lot of money. They're selling a lot of units, as they should. It's a great console. There's a lot of great games for it. But they need to implement all of these things that have been out for a long time into this new console. And no more gimmicks. I know Nintendo loves doing motion controls. They love doing like crazy stuff like having a gamepad with a screen on it. Like that's neat and all, but don't let that limit your hardware. If they didn't have the gamepad and just a regular controller, it wouldn't cost as much as that gamepad. So they'd be able to put more of that money that we're spending on the console into the actual hardware, updating the graphics card, the memory inside of it, the storage space. That's a huge thing they need to work on, is storage space. Oh my god, 32 gigabytes? That's like nothing. That is nothing at all. I mean, games these days are bigger than 32 gigabytes. I think The Witcher is taking up like 50 gigs or something like that on my PS4. It's ridiculous. Even the 500 gigabytes that the Xbox One and PS4 started out with is just terrible. Because these games installs and updates are huge. The other day I had a 16 gigabyte update for one of my games. It was crazy. Warframe, I think it was like a 20 gigabyte update. They're huge. And Nintendo needs to see that in other consoles. They need to see what's going on so they can prepare for that and give it a huge hard drive. They need to give it a huge hard drive. They need to give it a better graphics card than the other ones. They need to give it better RAM. So with all these things that they need to have learned by this point, they need to implement it now. Because they didn't implement it with the Wii U, which is why it didn't sell that great. So with this new news, they need to not make it look like any of this. Because, oh god, I remember when I saw the prototype controller for the NX, I was like, no. Where it's like the screen is on the controller. There's like oh god, it just looks terrible. I'm so glad that was fake. That was fake, by the way. That has been debunked. So if you still believe that, that's not real. That is, I don't know what that is. It looks like, I don't even know how they made that. It looks terrible. The NX is huge. I'm disappointed they won't be showing it off at E3. That's really disappointing. I was hoping to see something about it. They're really keeping it secret. Another thing I just saw right before I started making this video is that they're coming out with apps for Fire Emblem and Animal Crossing for smartphones. I don't know how I feel about that. I don't know how I feel about that at all. I've been against Nintendo getting into the smartphone market for a while now. Because, I mean, I don't play smartphone games that much, if at all. And most of them are just in-app purchase money pits. That there's really no game. It's just a shell of a game and you just keep paying money to play it. I don't know how I feel about that at all. Anyway, so that's the news. The new NX coming out March 2017, and then the new Zelda game also coming out 2017. So hopefully it's good, right? Cross your fingers. I'm looking forward to seeing Zelda at the E3. I might actually be going to E3, so that'll be really cool. And if I do go to E3, expect a ton of videos. Thanks for watching, guys. Of course, comment, like, and subscribe. And when you're commenting, comment down below what you guys want to see in the Nintendo NX, what you guys think Nintendo needs to do with it in order to survive, and also what you're hoping they'll show off at E3 besides The Legend of Zelda, because they can't just be showing off one game, right? I mean, they've got to have a list. Let's hope, right? Thanks for watching, guys.